Hello, hello, hello. How are you? I'm super excited for you to be here. And so, if you have decided that you want to increase your sales, you want to increase your brand awareness, and you want to do all that without being the face of your brand, without having to create 17 reels a day, then you definitely want to make sure that you watch this live because today I am going to walk you through literally 5 of my favorite ways to boost your online sales, to boost your product sales with influencers. So, if you are thinking about influencers for 2023, you've been hearing people talk about influencers, marketing, and all that kind of good stuff. This is definitely going to be a great series for you because, or a great live for you because then I'm going to talk about 2 influencer marketing stats that's going to blow your mind. Yes, I'm going to start with stats. I love facts. I love data. So I want to make sure so I'm going to start there, give you a couple stats that's going to blow your mind. And then I'm going to talk about those 5 ways that you can use them to boost your sales. And so on today's episode, today's new episode of the Roadmap to 1 Million podcast, my podcast that comes out every Tuesday, we just dropped an episode that actually has 10 ways to boost sales with influencer marketing in that episode. And I talk more detailed in that episode, in that podcast episode, about each of these different ways that I am going to do in this live. So make sure that you head over to your podcast app of choice, head over to the link in my bio and go to find the podcast, Roadmap to 1 Million. And you'll be able to listen to all 10 ways. And I have more stats and stuff in there. I give you a lot more information about influencer marketing, why, all that kind of good stuff in that podcast episode. So make sure that you head over to roadmap to1million.com. You'll find the links for the podcast there. You'll find the links to anything that I'm kind of talking about today there as well. And you just go to the podcast app of choice and you then search for Roadmap to 1 Million and you'll find the podcast. All right. So let's start with some stats. So 2 stats. 1, 61% of consumers trust influencer recommendations. And that's according to Influencer Marketing Hub. And let's talk about that for just a second. 61% of consumers trust influencer recommendations. Think about when you're scrolling your timeline, when you're on Instagram, when you're on TikTok. A lot of times you're following people who are giving you recommendations for things, telling you how to do stuff, telling you how to style things, how to wear stuff, all that kind of stuff. That's really what we're getting on Instagram. We're getting fed recommendations all the time. And so for the fact that consumers, your customers actually do trust influencer recommendations, and a big chunk of them do actually trust the recommendations, that's definitely a reason for you to start tapping into influencer content for your brand. Another stat that's awesome and I think is definitely going to blow your mind is that influencer marketing achieved an 11x return on investment compared to banner ads, in a study that was done by Convince and Convert. And so I definitely can attest to this. I have run ads when I worked at Zappos. I have run ads on Facebook, Instagram, and all the different social platforms. And influencer content actually performs very, very well. It does get traffic. It does get sales. It does get cut through the noise. And if you're struggling post iOS 14 or you're struggling with your messaging and your ads, this is definitely a place that you want to absolutely step into because you could definitely make a lot of money when done right. And the key there is when done right. And that's why I created my influencer marketing playbook that I'm going to talk about that I'm not going to go into too much today, but the influencer marketing playbook is designed to help you to be able to hire the right influencers, to be able to get great content every time, and to be able to monetize it in different ways in addition to learning how to run ads with them. That is something that I'm taking directly from my experience that I've had over these last 11 years in marketing and really figuring out, like, how do we create content and create ads that sell product? That's my focus. My focus is connecting revenue and sales to your products. Okay. And so let's talk about these 5 ways. So these are my 5 favorite ways of the 10 ways that I mentioned in the Roadmap to 1 Million podcast. So again, if you want to hear all 10 ways that I talk about in the podcast, make sure you head over to the new episode of the podcast because I go into 10 different ways, but today I'm going to go into the 5. So my first one should not be a shock to you, and I'm going to go through this one quickly because I talk about this to death, but it's running ads with your influencer content. Y'all, influencers make really, really good content. When you do them right, when you do your job as the marketer to actually set them up for success so that you can get the actual great content, which is what I talk about in the influencer marketing playbook and what I just talked about in my workshop that I taught. In that workshop, I really went through the different ways, the different strategies that you can use with when it comes to Facebook ads and how you can actually add influencer marketing into that. And so You are seriously leaving money on the table if you are not running ads with your influencer content or with your user generated content. And so you want to make sure that you go to, if you want to watch the replay of the workshop, head over to stacyzeal.co/workshop. That link is also in my bio as well. And so you can watch that replay. It's up. You can go ahead and dive into that so that you can learn more about running ads with your influencer content. And listening to the podcast, I actually go in a little bit deeper. But that's one of my favorite ways, is to make sure that you are elevating that content with ads, because organic reach is dropping, y'all. Organic reach has dropped 43% on Instagram over the last couple of years. And so if you're only relying on organic marketing alone, then you are seriously leaving money on the table. All right, let's go into number 2. So number 2, the second way that you can use influencers to boost sales is by hosting a live shopping event. And so one of the things when I was at Zappos, one of the things we started doing that was really cool was on TikTok. TikTok has a live streaming platform, and Facebook, I believe, has one as well. So on TikTok, we would actually have influencers host the actual, like a QVC kind of for Gen Z, if you think about it. Like, that's really what it was. It was like about a QVC kind of setup where we have all this different product. It would have different themes. So maybe like, we would have running brands for one live segment. We hired these two influencer hosts to come in and do every live stream that we did. And so they would come in, they would talk about the products, they would engage with the audience, they would really showcase the different facts about different products. And we were also running ads on the back end of that as well. And so we're running ads on TikTok while we're live to get people to tune into the live. So there's a lot of things that you can do with influencers if you're trying to increase sales to your store, because you're because you're relying on them having the trust that they built with their audience. You're relying on them bringing in their audience. You're relying on them with that trust that they've already built to actually get your products out there in front of more people, right? And so live shopping is such a great way to tap into influencers. Like, set them up, give them your product, set them up on your Instagram page or on your TikTok page. Let them go live, talk about the product, answer questions, interact with people. It really adds a human element to your brand. All right, so that's number 2. So number 3 is to host a brand activation. I love brand activations, y'all. And so what a brand activation is, if you don't know what it is essentially like an event in person with a brand. And so like some of the things, I've done or participated in, for example, like when I was at Zappos, Hunter Boots, they make really cool like rain boots. Their core demographic is like college students, Gen Z, that kind of thing. And so we did an activation on on college campuses. So we would take the Hunter Boots, go to the campuses. You might have influencers and stuff that would invite that would come and do meet and greets, all those kinds of things. And that's a great way to connect your in-person activities with your online presence. And so influencers draw a crowd. People they want to see them. They want to meet them. They want to take photos with them. The influencers are going to post on their channels what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. So you can do a lot of stuff if you're planning on doing any in-person events next year. Definitely make sure you're add on that layer of inviting an influencer that will bring their audience, but also bring their energy, bring their talent, and then actually help you to really kind of take your concept to the next, or take your event to the next level. And so some examples are like marathons I've done, when we worked with a lot of running brands. So like wineries, like there was this one brand, I can't remember what the name of the brand is, but we did a wine running kind of thing. It was like a marathon. It was ASICS. That's what it was. ASICS. And they did like this winery kind of thing. And so you can get influencers to come to your events and all that kind of stuff. So in-person events, brand activations, having influencers come and show a day in the life or show what they're doing there is a great way to add that human element and a human connection between your online efforts and your in-person efforts. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is curated influencer picks. And so this is something that Amazon does very well. So if you think about any of your favorite Amazon influencers who are promoting, with their outfits and things that they're buying on Amazon, they have links that they can go to a special curated page on their Amazon site where you can see all of their recommendations. And so that is something that you can take away and do for your brand. And so if you have multiple products or you have different ways of showcasing your products, you definitely want to, thank you. You definitely want to make sure that you're tapping into that, because, and another way to think about it is like, think about Oprah's favorite things, right? Brands, if you get a shout out at Oprah's favorite things, like you literally sell out in like an hour, right? And so that's the same thing that you can kind of have with influencers. If you have influencers that can create, outfits with your products, can create looks with your products, can create, different kinds of ways of showcasing your products, even doing things like days, a day in the life, creating a collection on their Instagram page, right? Like you can have shops with your Instagram shops, you have collections from influencers. And so there's a way for you to really have these influencers curate looks and curate special lists for your customers, especially during this time of year because it's gift season, right? And so if people are looking for gifts to give to other people, and so if there is an influencer, for example, who is a male who is creating gifts for, that, he would like to receive from his girlfriend, maybe that's something that you can push out, right? They can say like, oh, these are some great gifts for a guy who likes football, great gifts for a guy who likes dance, whatever it is, right? You can really start to have your influencers create experiences for your customers so that it makes the process of them buying things a lot easier because they're relying on those trusted recommendations. All right, and number 5, the last one that we're going to talk about today. Remember, there are 10 that I went through today on the Roadmap to 1 Million podcast. So if you want to learn the other 5, definitely make sure you go listen to the Roadmap to 1 Million podcast to get all 10. But this last one is affiliate commissions. And so offering someone a kickback for selling your products is probably one of the easiest ways to incentivize them to promote it. Right? Because that's the problem. Is like we don't want to get our products into the hands of people and then do nothing with it. Right. And so if you think about like, okay, if someone, for example, is an influencer, but they also are a blogger, maybe they have a YouTube channel, they have a business model that they're actually have an email list that they can send out, send things out to. You want to make sure that those kinds of people are getting a commission for selling products because that incentivizes them to keep talking about it. Right. If you think about it, another example, again, Amazon affiliates, they get incentivized for people to buy things off of Amazon and not just the stuff that's in their shops, right? So like if you go and see see some clothes that you like added to your cart and you end up adding a piano to your cart also, that influencer is going to get kickback on that piano as well, right? And so you can use things like Share a Sale, you can use Commission Junkie. There are lots of sites out there that you can actually use to get your products on to have people to be able to get links and things like that so that they can track their sales and that kind of stuff. So you really don't even have to do it in-house. You can do it in-house if you want to. There were definitely ways that you can do that in-house, but you really don't have to. You can get it on Share a Sale. You can get it on Commission Junkie. I know for me, like with my cannabis blog, Mary Zeal, I still get people offering me product. I still get emails about, hey, would you like to try this product out? We'll give you a commission, right? And so that's something that you can definitely do. You can definitely tap into giving people a percentage to incentivize them to actually create content, to post content, to sell to their lists, to do all those kinds of things. And so those are the 5. Let me run through the 5 real quick so that y'all know, so that y'all can get that recap. So the first way, is my favorite way, is by running Facebook and Instagram ads. And you can check out my influencer marketing playbook if you want to learn more about how to do that. 2 is you can host live shopping events where they can go on your Instagram page or your TikTok page or your Facebook page, and they can go live and talk about some different product images. There are tools that Facebook has specifically built for live shopping. So don't sleep on live commerce, right? Live shopping is definitely going to be something that is continuing to grow. And so when you integrate that with influencers, that's money. 3 is you can host a brand activation. And so when you host an in-person event, you invite influencers to come so that they bring their audience, they post on their page, they do meet and greets, all that kind of stuff. They really add a human element to your brand. And then number 4 is you can create influencer picks, some looks, like some curated looks for your influencers. So like think about a landing page or like, with a bunch of different influencer recommendations. Think about a curated collection on your Instagram shop that says from XYZ influencer. And one thing that Amazon does that I think I forgot to mention is that they actually run Facebook ads to their curated influencer pick lists. So like I get ads all the time that say like, oh, check out this influencer picks, check out this influencer's picks, check out this person's picks. And so I find someone who I resonate with their style in their carousel ad, and I'm like, ooh, let me check out their list. And then I go and I check out their picks. Right. So there's a lot of stuff that you could do with this, y'all, with influencer content. Don't sleep on influencer content. And then number 5 is affiliate commissions. And so making sure that you're offering people a kickback and to incentivize them to promote and sell your products. And so those are the 5 ways that you can boost sales with influencer content. Make sure that you head over to Roadmap to 1 Million to check out my podcast. The podcast episode has all 10 ways that I go through. So I have 5 more ways that I did not go through today that are actually in the podcast, and I go in deeper on each of these different ways. So make sure you head over to the link in my bio, go to your podcast app of choice, and search for Roadmap to 1 Million. Because here's the thing, like the art to getting, none of this works unless your influencer content is great. right? None of this stuff works unless you're hiring the right influencers, unless you're briefing them correctly to get the right campaigns, unless you're promoting it correctly and you're tapping into different ways to monetize that content. You have to get the right players in the right seats. You have to get the right content, or none of this works. Your ads fall flat if you don't have the right content. Your brand activations don't bring a lot of crowd if you don't hire the right people. And so my new influencer marketing playbook is exactly what you need if you are investing in influencer marketing for this year or next year. And you've decided that you want to do it right the first time, right? You don't want to get, or maybe you've gotten some crappy content from influencers before and you don't know what to do to actually prevent that from happening. Maybe you've had a bad experience with that and you want to make sure you avoid that. So definitely make sure you check out the influencer marketing playbook. And again, if you are ready to take to really invest in influencer marketing, check out the playbook. If you really want to learn more about this topic and start to learn 5 more ways, definitely check out the podcast. Or and all of the links and all those things are in my bio. So definitely hope this was helpful for y'all. Let me know what kind of questions y'all have. If you're watching the replay, hey, let me know if you have any questions that come up. Send me a DM if you want to talk about the influencer marketing playlist, because I really want to make sure that y'all take advantage of this Black Friday special before it's over, so that you can definitely make sure that you are setting yourself up for success next year of being able to get your products in the hands of lots of people, right? It's about moving away from talking one-to-one and talking from one to many, because that person already has an audience. They already have a lot of people that are following them. And so getting your products in their hands is one of the best ways to boost your sales. So I'll talk to y'all on the next live. See y'all